the birthplace of the Bohemian Revolution, from Cowork 591 Studios. We are the Bohemian Reformation. This is the Steve Brown Arts Center Podcast Network with producer Blake Tempus down at the end
That's
there.
him down there.
And co-host Dale Rueber.
That's him in the middle.
I'm Jim Gillespie, and this is the Jesup News for October 14th, 2024.
Wow.
Welcome. Tonight we are sponsored by Mickey D's Pizza and Lobster. The Farrells are kind sponsors of the podcast. Mike will be in for our 100 show.
Is that right?
Yeah, Mike's been on here several times, and he's going to come in for a 5-minute interview that may turn into 50 minutes.
Yes, I've never seen him just talk 5 minutes before.
No.
Whereas we are very stoic and hardly say a word. Yes.
We are. Tonight we interview Ricky Nolan, the president of the Jesup Community School Booster Club. We talk about some of the best characters on television shows.
All right.
We look at the Jesup News, talk about the top actors of the last 100 years.
Okay.
Dale, can you go back 100 years?
Almost.
Okay.
Yeah.
We look at upcoming shows. We look at the U.S. Foreign Affairs weekly update of the Steve Brown Arts Center, and we introduce a new member of the Steve Brown Arts Center.
We do that in 10 minutes? All that?
We're gonna try.
Okay.
The Steve Brown Arts Center is a 501c3 nonprofit organization that has a vision for artists, young and old alike, to have the opportunity to better themselves while helping to build the skills of those around them. The long-range vision is to house a rural artist residency program for professional and emerging artists in all areas of the arts and the humanities. Artists will be offered accommodations and studio space in exchange for a contribution of labor and maintenance of the buildings and ground. Dale, I'll give you a chance. I'll bloviate as I talk about the best characters. I'll give you my list of the best characters on television of all time.
Okay.
Best character actors. So I'll give you a chance to think about it.
Okay, the actors were not. You want the character or the actor?
I'm talking the characters, not the actors.
Okay, all right.
Okay, so OTL, off the list. OTL, we're introducing a new phrase tonight. OTL.
OTL.
Off the list.
Off the list.
To begin with. Bart Maverick in the famous Western show, Maverick.
I never liked Bart.
You didn't?
No, I liked Brett, but Bart, whenever it was about Bart, I always say, oh crap, I didn't watch the show. So,
that was James Gardner?
No, James Garner was Brett Maverick.
Brett, forgive me.
Okay.
I have it. Then it was Brett Maverick. I have them mixed up.
Yeah, okay, Brett Maverick, I would agree with you, yes. All right.
Okay, Brett Maverick.
Handsomest man so darn good looking.
Square chin.
And just handsome. You know, how can anyone be that good looking?
Okay, off the list now. OTL Kramer from
Seinfeld?
the Seinfeld.
Okay.
OTL Hoss from Bonanza.
Okay.
OTL Marty from the show. Oh gosh. It takes place down in Arkansas. What's the lake down in Arkansas? The
Lake of the Ozarks?
The Ozark. The movie or the show Ozarks. Marty was the star.
I don't recall that show.
Yeah.
Okay.
And still OTL Saul from Better Call Saul.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I never watched that either, but I know what you're talking about.
It's a good one. Now we go number 5. Festus from Gunsmoke. Okay. Said just great humor. The first autograph I ever got was Festus.
Okay. And he played the part so well because if you know him from earlier stuff, he was a big band singer, played guitar, sang in other movies.
He did.
And so he really did a great job because that was not him.
No.
Yeah.
You're right. Number 4, Coach from Cheers.
Oh, Coach from Cheers. Okay.
Yeah, Coach died of cancer during
the show.
I believe the 3rd season.
That'd be about right.
Yeah. Just great humor.
Yeah,
great humor.
He was very good.
Number 3, Henry Blake from MASH.
Yep.
The Colonel Blake.
I read a thing about him, and he left the show thinking he was going to have his own show and go on to greater things, and of course they killed him on MASH,
right.
So he couldn't do. So he was in another show that tanked, and another show that tanked, and he said they found out that they didn't like McLean Stevenson, they liked Henry Blake.
Number two from the Rock Files.
Yeah.
Angel.
Ah, okay. What was his name?
Stuart Mungo.
Is that how you said it? Okay, but yeah.
Wonderful humor.
Yeah.
Always a pain in the side to Jimmy Rockford. Jimmy.
Yeah.
I was calling Rockford. Always tried to draw Rockford into a con. Love the humor.
Yeah, no, he was good.
And the number one from Northern Exposures, the famed Adam, lived in a hut in the middle of nowhere in Alaska.
Okay.
On Northern Exposures, he was a spy for the CIA. He was a culinary genius. He was a writer for the New York Times. He did all of this and he was also pain in the side to Joel the Doctor.
Okay.
On Northern Exposures.
I was trying to remember that show.
Those are my top five. So 5 Festus, 4 Coat, 3 Henry Blake, 2 Angel, and number 1 Adam from Northern Exposure. So who are your top 5?
Oh, well, if you remember the first big sergeant on Hill Street Blues.
Oh, yeah.
Tall,
bald-headed guy.
I liked him. I thought he was...
Be careful out there.
Yeah, I know, yeah. He was very good. And there was one where someone had stolen the engagement ring he was going to give his girlfriend, and he was questioning the guy, and he was sitting backwards on a wooden chair, and he just crumbled the back of that chair up in his hands. He was so mad, and the guy was very quick to tell him everything he knew. But I thought that was a good move. The sergeant, I can't remember, but he was the sergeant on Hill Street Blues on West Wing, and this guy, the guy that played President Bartlett, I just thought he did a fantastic job because he acted so presidential. Oh, who's the comedian that was on the show towards the end? Was on Ronan Martin's Laugh-In. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know.
Well, she did a show at Gallagher Blue Dorn, and you could write out questions, pass them in, and she had a bunch of them. She picked, and she read mine, and I said, how do you think President Bartlett would do against Bush and whoever? Right. Oh, she said, he'd wipe up the floor with him. But I thought he was very good in St. Elsewhere. Do you remember that show?
Yep.
The guy who played the young doctor, and he's a judge on one of the shows now. Do you know who I'm talking about? He's got the germ phobia, and he was real young then. But I thought he was very good. If I said his name, you'd remember. Yeah. But I don't know. Where am I at? 3? So I like that show. And then L.A. Law. Mm-hmm. I thought that was very good. And the what was his name? He was in Major League also, in the shortstop. But he was one of the lawyers that's always after the women. Right. You know, this gal was trying to write a book about lawyers, so she got him in the bedroom. And she's hanging up his coat, and she says, I have wood hangers or metal hangers. Oh, he says, I prefer wood, you know, for the hang. So he was that picky of a guy, you know, that I have a wood hanger. Oh, man, who could I go to next? Well, actually, I really liked Clint Walker as Cheyenne Bodie as a kid. Oh, yeah, I thought that he was very good. And he wasn't, as I understand, a terrific actor or anything, but I loved the show, and I loved the way he handled the role. Right. And so, in my list also. Okay. All right. Well, good ones. Good one. We're back, and this is the Steve Brown Arts Center Podcast Network. We're here tonight with Jesup Booster Club President Ricky Nolan. Welcome, Ricky.
Well, thank you.
Thanks for coming in. Ricky, first off, tell us a little bit about the Booster Club. How long have you been president? Who are some of the officers like that?
I've been president. This is my 6th year now, 6th and final year. I'll be done here coming at the end of May. We're looking for someone to replace me if anybody's out there that's interested in doing such a thing. Our other officers, Kristen Schutte is our vice president. She's been on the Booster Club for about 18 years, and she'll be stepping down at the end of this year as her last child graduates as well. Melissa Trumbauer is our secretary. She's been around the school in several capacities here lately. She's helped kind of with Jay's Closet. She's actually a school board member now, which we actually have 2 of those that are on our board currently. And then we have co-treasurers this year for the first time because we're transitioning. Betsy Oshner will be transitioning out as a member this year, and then Nicole Weber will be taking that over. So we have a co-treasurer this year, which our bylaws actually had written in that we could do do, and we weren't aware of it until we dug into them a little further. So
It gets bad when you have to read the bylaws.
So what does it take to get on the Booster Club, Ricky?
come to a meeting, say you want to come often and on a regular basis, and we can vote you in as a voting member. We actually have space for 17 members on our board. We currently have 14 members, so we do have 3 open spots. But yeah, we meet the first Wednesday of the month typically. Next month we're actually meeting on the 13th because of conferences being that first Wednesday, and we have some teachers and things like that, so we moved it to the following week. But really just wanting to be involved, helping the kids out to basically better their experience. That's what we try to do.
So is there work involved with it besides the meetings or things that you do?
The concession stand.
Okay, so you run the concession stand?
The concession stands, that's our biggest money maker, throughout the year. But the more hands we have, the less work it really is, because you can split up those duties and things. We've been doing the last 3 years now. We've been working with the different teams and groups that they have to work 5 events. We really prefer that the kids work as opposed to the parents. We won't tell the parents they can't work during those 5, but we really like the kids to work because we feel it's an opportunity for them to give back and learn what it means to be a volunteer. My thoughts are we teach kids everything. And so teaching them to volunteer is also something that we have to do. Otherwise, how do they learn to do it? And so this is a way for them to give back to an organization that's giving everything back to them.
All of
the money that we raise goes back into the kids, so they have a chance to help us help them or help the future them, type of thing. So
well, back when my kids were in school, I was more involved with J Stars than with the Booster Club was sports, and the J Stars artistic kinds of thing, music. And I understand that's all been put together into one group. And how is that going with the J Stars people? Are they happy?
So about 3 years ago, we consumed J Stars and the after prom committee. We were approached by some J Star members because their numbers were were going down.
Yeah, I had heard that.
Some of the parents that were on were looking to be done because their last kids either were graduating or had really already graduated, and so but they didn't have anybody to hand it off. And so we were kind of approached and was like, hey, what are your guys' thoughts about doing this under one umbrella? At that time, we were splitting then concessions. Like Booster Club had the fall and the spring and summer, I think. J Stars just did winter, like they had basketball, wrestling, which there's a lot of basketball games, and they were struggling to find people to work because their membership wasn't as big either. So it was kind of one of those like, hey, this I think would be good if we could combine this. And so Cassie Schaefer she was on the J Star board and then ended up joining our board after we voted to take it. And then when she moved, Heather Kane is currently kind of our fine arts rep that kind of communicates with the fine arts directors and then kind of back to us and things. So I think it's worked out pretty well. We just actually bought Hawaiian shirts for the band that they wear during their halftime performances, and they're going to wear throughout the winter when they do pep band and stuff during the basketball games. We were able to find a company that did custom Hawaiian shirts, and they're pretty cool. They got the Jayhawks and the J on them, and they look pretty nice. Mrs. Truex is pretty excited about them.
Where do I go to get one of those?
We have them we actually have some left in the nest. We bought some extra and we're selling them in the nest. Strabe's got one. He saw them and he was like, hey, I gotta have one of those. So
the nest is like your store? Or
that's where we stock.
So if you wanted a cap or something, you could get one there? Is it an actual physical place, or is it all online?
It's a trailer. So at the football game, there's as you're coming in the southwest entrance, there's a trailer that sits there that houses our clothing and hats and extra things that we buy. It's starting to thin out a little bit because football season's coming towards an end. We will be doing an online order here coming up soon. I just actually got to finalize it here sometime in October. That way, ideally, the things will come in before Christmas if people wanted to give some Jayhawk gear for Christmas and stuff. But I'll have probably 3 different shirt designs that'll be on there.
Is that through the school's website, or
it'll come? There'll be an email that'll come from the school. Margie usually helps send it out for us, but otherwise it'll be on the Booster Club website, on our Facebook page. Those those types of things, but the school will send out an email for us that way everybody can get the link and stuff.
First off, this is Steve Brown Arts Center Podcast Network, and we're with Ricky Nolan, the president of the Jesup Booster Club. So, Ricky, is with taking in the After Prom and the J Stars, is the Booster Club still a 501c3?
Yes. Yep.
It is. So you have to, you have to spend all your money in 1 year, sort of.
Yeah.
There's a fine. I understand.
Yeah.
I understand.
I mean, we definitely carry a balance, but I mean, our money is spent on everything to help the kids. I mean, you brought up After Prom and Grand March. We sponsor / host those events, so the entertainment that comes to After Prom, the prizes and things that the kids can win from playing the games at the drawings at the end of the night, we purchase those. We have a couple ladies that love Black Friday those days, and they're ready to spend away to get all the deals and the things for that.
That's why you don't have it all men anymore. Yeah.
And then we, the decorations and things that are needed to decorate the gym to turn it into the magical place that it is on for the Grand March. We help purchase whatever it is that the ladies decide they want to decorate with that for that year and things. And then fine arts. We've bought sheet music for some of the band stuff. We bought it for the musical. We did some rights here just recently for the musical that they've got coming up this year. We bought the Hawaiian shirts, this year for the band, and that kind of went under a uniform type thing for the band.
When they're playing
they're going to keep them from year to year, and kind of instead of the kids got to keep them, they're going to be kept, and they'll have them for future years. And then our main expenses, obviously with athletics, are uniforms. We rotate varsity uniforms every 5 years. So Joe Spines, our AD, keeps the schedule. He knows what's coming up. And then, so there's a new basketball uniform every 5 years, and new football. Football's coming up here in the next year, so there'll be some uniforms coming for that. And then we also do middle school, both fine arts and athletics. I just saw an invoice for middle school boys and girls basketball uniforms, so those have been placed, and they'll have some new threads come in for the upcoming season type of thing. So we're supporting. We had always been called 15 strong on the athletic side. When you think about all of the boys and girls sports and you list them out, it's there's 15 of them, and then we added in band, choir, speech, and then drama or musical, whatever you want to call that part of it. So,
and do you give scholarships?
We do at Dollars for Scholars. We give two $500 athletic scholarships, and then two $500 fine arts scholarships. Typically, when the numbers match up right for, especially more fine arts, it's usually one boy, one girl. So fine arts the last couple of years have been more girl dominant and haven't really had the guys that are seniors that qualify. We have a list of qualifications that Miss Bauer has and knows about that they have to meet. And then a recent 2 years ago qualification we put on there is that the kids had to work 2-hour shifts in order to qualify to get our scholarship as well. So kind of that giving back thing. So
and we do that with Farmers Day too. Is they get Farmers Day scholarships? They have to come down and work at the funnel cake booth.
I've been in the funnel cake three times now.
You're a veteran. Yeah, the scars to prove it, I bet.
And I've got one more. Ava's the senior this year, so I'm sure I'll be in there this Farmers Day.
There you go. So Ricky, what's the most enjoyable part about being involved with the Booster Club?
For me, it's the kids. I mean, that's why I do what I do. When they approached me 6 years ago now to see if I wanted to take over from Buck McCombs, he was the president before me. It really was a discussion with my wife of helping the kids. And my thoughts have always been, how can we increase their experience at Jesup? And then obviously the last couple of years now we've added middle school kind of in with that more. And so now it's, just that student centered thing. How can we make the experience, whether, obviously it's the uniforms and things, but we also, coaches need this extra thing. And like volleyball this year, we just purchased a couple of platforms that the coaches stand on to run some of the drills, like to hit the ball over the net. And they're these lightweight, they fold up like super tiny couple inches, and they can pull them around easy and get them from one spot to another, and so they typically, the coaches have to take it to Joe Spines, our AD, he looks at it, and then he brings it to us. If he's like, yeah, let's see if the booster club can help us with that, and then we take a vote and decide. And we haven't really voted anything down when it comes to coaches asking, because if they're asking, it's something they really feel like they need and stuff. So just those types of things that are going to help. Those help the coaches, which in turn help the athletes, because if the coaches can move drills faster, they're getting more practice time that's meaningful, that's going to help make them better. And honestly, over the last handful of years, our sports programs have been really successful. So to be a small part of that, it's showing what we're doing is helping type of thing. So just looking to pass that torch to the next person that wants to help do that. Like, I've got a shirt on that says be a part of the legacy, and different colored be the legacy, and that's kind of been my theme the last kind of 5 years. Like, I send out emails and Facebook posts, and I put that on there, and that's for volunteers, that's for the community, that's for the kids, parents. Like, what are you leaving behind? So
the opportunities you provide are awesome. We are a small town. It's hard to get a lot of volunteers, and I know the hours that you must spend are incredible.
Volunteers it got to be a challenge with COVID. However many years ago that was now, nobody wants to remember it, and I certainly don't, also being a teacher. But after COVID, it was hard. It was really hard to kind of get people to come back and volunteer. Our board members were putting in a lot of time, just to fill the concessions, to make sure they were open when we had events and things. But over the last couple of years, we've really kind of started to see volunteers coming back, which is good. Team program that we do, that where we've asked our teams to help take 5 events a year. That's really been helpful. It doesn't cover all of our events, but it covers a good chunk of them, 60 to 65% of the things that we're open.
Team program.
So we worked with AD Joe Smines, and we kind of were talking to him. He's at all of our meetings, and we were like, he knew we were struggling with volunteers, and we were like, what's something we can do? And we kind of brainstormed for a while and came up with the idea of going with our coaches and working with them, and then working with the teams and asking them to help give back, to help us out, to help them out type of thing. And we ask each team to take 5 events throughout the year. So we try to get each one of our booster club members is a rep, one of the sports. I'm currently the rep for cheer, and then also for baseball. And so I kind of work with those coaches and say, okay, here's some dates that I'm thinking, do these work? And then we basically send emails out to their email group from the previous year or the current year, depending on what season the sport's in. And we start to book and try to get kids in for those events. Like the cheerleaders here this year have done the JV football games on Monday night, because they don't cheer the JV games. Their squad just cheers varsity games this year. So they've taken those events, and essentially the girls sign up to come in and work the concessions and take admissions and do those types of things. So they're helping us fill positions of need to then give back to their programs and things as they need stuff. So for me, it's them helping them, also learning to be what a volunteer is and giving back to their community, because even if they're not going to use something from us right now, the future them might need something. And so they're helping us be able to provide for those middle schoolers that are going to be coming into high school in the next couple of years, and that coach might need something for them for that sport they just that they just graduated from. So
when you do the concession stands, do you do the nuts and bolts? Do you have to do the ordering and the cleaning and all that sort of thing?
Thank goodness I don't.
But someone in the booster club does it. Does the school help with that at all?
No, it's Kristen Schutte is pretty much our concession stand person. She orders all the food, takes inventory. She places the Pepsi order, runs to Sam's Club, runs to Martin Brothers to pick things up and get them stocked into the concession stands. She's kind of on top of getting the volunteers to when we need to move from one season to the next, like when we're done with baseball, softball, and we don't need all the roasters down there, we need to move them back up to football or inside to volleyball. She's kind of the one that takes care of all that. Now, if we have something that breaks, like if we're inside and the water's not working, we let Joe know and he puts something into Kevin, and the maintenance crew helps take care of something like that. But otherwise, realistically, all the equipment, food, everything that's in there is all Booster Club property. So it's a lot.
Yeah,
it's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot to keep. I mean, and we've been really blessed this last year and a half. Like, our concessions have been crazy busy. Like, people are supporting, they're eating there when they come to games and things, which makes the need of volunteers even higher, because nobody wants to wait in line for 20 minutes for a hot dog. If you only have 3 people and working and there's 100 people waiting, it might take that long. So that's the number of volunteers, the more we can have, the smoother we can run concessions and stuff. But it's been good lately.
Well, Ricky, is there anything we didn't ask you that you'd like to share?
We have a Booster Bash. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that or not. Booster Bash, it'll be our 5th year with that. Originally, it was supposed to be a sit-down meal. And then we were 2 weeks from having it, and COVID hit, and we pivoted really fast because obviously we had food bought and different things, and we turned it from a sit-down meal to a drive-through meal. So we had Nick Roden, actually, his wife Shannon is one of our board members, but he cooked the meat and stuff for us, and then all of us kind of chipped in to make party potatoes and other sides and desserts and things, and we did a drive-through event where we were set up at the school in the athletic entrance, and people drove up to the curb and however many meals they needed, and we'd send them on their way. And we actually had the coaches in to help all the years. They've helped take meals out to cars and things. And Josh Zook has set up a obstacle course of some sort for the coaches to compete in every year. And Nate Clayburgh comes up and with the Sports Network and videos that and interviews of the coaches as we're up there. And we've done that for 4 years now. And this last year, we did okay. It wasn't as busy.
Right.
And so we had some conversations. There's been people from the community who are like, hey, are you guys ever going to do a sit-down meal again? And so we decided we're going to do a sit-down meal this year. On March 15th, it's going to be out at the Country Club. And we're planning happy hour from like 6 to 7 that night, and then a dinner at 7. We'll have some auction items, and then Nate Clayburgh and Luke Baldwin are planning to MC for us. And the only downside with having a sit-down meal is we only can have this many people, where a drive-through can however many people drive through type of thing. But we're also looking forward to socializing and networking and kind of getting common-minded people in the same area to have a good time for the evening and stuff. So we're really looking forward to that. And then
what's the dates on that again?
March 15th of 2025. And then and normally our Booster Bass had been a week later, our new spring break that we're having at school that weekend now, so we bumped it up a week to not, hopefully, nobody, too many people aren't out spring breaking and things over that long weekend that we're going to have here in Jesup. And then the other thing we have it'll be our 3rd annual golf outing this year. Our tentative date right now is August 30th of next year. This will be our 3rd one. We've had a blast. We've been full for the number of teams that we've been targeting over the last 2 years, and we've really had a good time again. Kind of common-minded people joining a good time playing some golf.
That's great.
But I mean, those are kind of our big things. So
how can they get to the Booster Club? What social media? What's your website? Things like.
Oh, that's a great question. Social media is just a Booster Club. We're on Facebook. I think we have an Instagram page, but it's not really kept up. We're really more. It's Facebook is where we kind of keep our posts. We do have a website. I believe it's JusupBoosterClub.com. I believe, but you can find it through our Facebook page. It's tagged on there. We send communications out through the school, so that way parent emails and things, if they get those, please don't delete them when you see them and it says urgent help needed. Please really take a look at it. That'd be great, because honestly, if we're having the school send out an email, we're in that desperate, hey, we have an event tonight or tomorrow and we need some help because we don't have all the positions filled type of thing. So Kristen Schutte actually asked me to set up a post tonight when I get home, because we need 7 volunteers for Friday night for the early shift of the football game. So Farmers State Bank, I believe, is coming in, and they're taking most of the evening, later varsity game shifts. One of our local business sponsors that have helped us out a lot. The fire department has been in a couple times this fall. The ambulance department has helped us or winter of last year. They helped us a few different times. We would like to have those local businesses come in. They really do help kind of take it off parents and things for a night. And it's, not that any of them maybe aren't still, but it's just kind of lessens the load a little bit and really helps us out. Typically the first Wednesday of the month, here at Cowork, they can come in at 6 o'clock and join us for a meeting, and they last 60 to 90 minutes, depending on how much conversation we have. And that's how you get involved.
All right. Well, thank you
very much.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming in. Ricky Nolan from the Jesup Booster Club. This is Steve Brown Arts Center Podcast Network. Dale, what do you have for Jesup news this
I have
week?
just some library reminders. The Spice this month is closed, and they have samples there you can get. The Chapter Chat, Monday, October 21st at 1 o'clock, is a book called A Woman of No Importance by Sonia Purnell, and it's about a woman who was an American spy that helped win World War II. There have been several of these kind of books lately that have come around where a lot of people, you had no idea that they were part of the big picture in World War II and did not get any publicity or notoriety because they were women, and they just kind of bypassed them. But there's a lot of that did some wonderful things. The exercise group is on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 o'clock, and the Little Tot story time is at Thursday, 10:30 a.m. So the Stuffy sleepover, October 15th and 16th. Have you thought any more about that? Or
I've thought that if I fall asleep in my chair at 9 o'clock, that'll be the only sleepover that I'll have.
Okay. Do you have a stuffed animal in your house?
The dog has one.
Dog has one? Okay. Because I don't think we do anymore. We used to have several, but I don't think we do anymore. I made a call. I found out what the movie is. Remember last week we thought it was a double X movie because they had it all X'd out. Well, the movie's going to be called The Fabulous Four, and it's a comedy about 4 women older, and one of them is getting married. And she said she didn't know if I would like it or not, but a lot of the women would really like it. So it's a comedy.
A chick flick.
Well, not exactly, but something like that, yeah. October 22nd is Painting with Susan, and join us for a fun afternoon of painting with local artist Susan Kennicott at her studio, which is in Jesup on 6th Street, and it is a $25 cost, and bring your own drinks and snacks. I imagine $25 is for supplies and that sort of thing. Oh, there's also another pumpkin painting contest. Now we could do this. Pick up a pumpkin after October 14th, paint it at home to look like a favorite book character, and return it to the public library for a pumpkin painting contest. It's sponsored by the Friends of the Library.
Book character. Give me some suggestions here.
Well, you need someone with a round face. Charlie Brown.
Charlie Brown.
Huck Finn would do. Yeah, there's a lot of Tom Sawyer. You think of all those famous books. Robinson Crusoe, you could put one of those he had one of those pointed straw hats that he made himself and this sort of thing. Oh, they're just, you can't. Millions.
I've got 18 pumpkins at home. I need to get busy.
Oh, yeah. You should try to make one of those Russian things, where you have a pumpkin inside a pumpkin inside a pumpkin, different sizes.
Stack doll.
And the Books and Brew, our favorite, that's also on Monday, October 14th at 6:30 at the Allerton Brewing. Is that a brewing?
A brewery.
Brewery, okay.
Yeah.
Allerton Brewing Company. Oh, I'm sorry, it's Brewing Company's right there. So, and they're going to discuss The Wedding Date by Jasmine Guillory. New members are always welcome to join that group. This coming week here at Cowork 591 on the 15th will be Boyd's Food Truck from 11 to 4, and they're a cash only, which I like. I hate those ones that are card only or whatever. And then Dominic's Seafood, 11 to 2 on Friday the 18th. And
that sort of scares me a little bit. I sort of want to try it.
Yeah, well, that's what I was thinking. Is I have not. Maybe they've been here before, but I don't recall seeing their name on any of their calendars. But that might be something just to go down and see what they have.
When is that again?
The 18th, Friday the 18th.
That's this Friday.
Coming right up. And then a little bit of school news. Just for the volleyball, it's against AGWSR on the 15th, and that's at multiple schools, and it's at AGWSR. 17th is cross country conference tournament. It's at Jesup at the golf course, and there's also a blood drive that day on the 7th for the Red Cross. The Red Cross is saying they really need blood with all the stuff going on down south and everything, and so there's a huge need for blood donors, and they're really looking for some young people because a lot of old people are in there giving blood. And what helps with tired blood? You remember that commercial?
No.
Oh, Geritol? Geritol, okay. But anyway, us old guy getting tired blood, so we used to have younger blood donors. Then the football game is the senior night, which is always a fun night to applaud the seniors that have played, and that's against Vincent Shellsburg here at Jesup.
One of the first to the last.
Excuse me?
One of the first to the last. Senior night for football. It's one of the first to the last for the seniors.
The first of the last. Okay, I got that.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's what I have kind of for news.
All right. Well, thank you. This is Steve Brown, Arts Center Podcast Network. I'm Jim Gillespie with Dale Rueber and Blake Tempus. We're coming to you live or taped live or on Facebook, on Apple, on Spotify, on YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. We're coming to you. Make sure that you click follow. Make sure that you give us a thumbs up. Make sure that you share this with other people, please, so that we get over 5,000 listeners.
We have to buy a bigger hat if we get 5,000 listeners.
We are. Dale and I are coming with our Halloween costumes, so beware. Is it next week? Is it next week?
The 23rd.
Yes, it is. Next
that's
week.
the Wednesday we're taping.
Yes,
right?
yes. Wow. So beware. We also have a guest that week. We don't scare them away with our...
I'm sorry. We record.
This is
the 9th. Next week is the 17th, or the 16th, then the 23rd. So it's 2 weeks yet. 2 Wednesdays.
This comes out the 14th, so then that would come out the 21st.
Yeah, so it's the one that comes out, because we do it on the 23rd, then the next Monday is the 28th.
The one that comes out 28th.
Yeah.
All right. So
Okay,
we
so
get
yeah,
2
2
weeks.
weeks, yeah.
2 weeks. Thank you.
That's all right.
Who's on?
I don't have any idea.
Okay.
There's 4 baseball games today, though. Did you know that?
You know, some of that is just incredible, Dale. Some of the baseball that's been played right now.
Yeah.
Just, you know, how Detroit get in, how the Mets get in. Detroit, as of August 2nd, had like a 2% chance to get into the playoffs, and they found
won
a way.
today, 3-0.
And they won today. It is remarkable, the baseball that's going on right now. So I'm sure we're keeping you away from it right now, Dale.
Well, my wife's watching, so she'll fill me right in.
All right. Thank you.
Unless
Thank
she's
you,
on
Dale.
that Hallmark channel, I don't know. What goes on when I'm not there.
Dale, let's look at the presidential election a little bit. Right now, the Republicans are outworking the Democrats right now. And I don't blame Vice President Harris. And here's why. If you look at President Trump, or former President Trump right now, all of his followers are on Fox and CNN, and they're on podcasts. They're out there fighting for him, speaking for him, and he's doing a good job. He's getting out. He's for a 78-year-old man, he's tired. And Harris is doing a good job of getting on podcasts. She was on a number of podcasts right now.
Well, she was on 60 Minutes over the weekend.
Yeah.
She was on The View, I believe, and so she's been on several widespread, where millions of people watch those kind of shows.
But you notice people that should be out there fighting for her, Obama, the Clintons, are nowhere to be found.
Obama is supposed to be out there.
Well, what are they waiting for, Dave?
Well, I don't know. They don't confide in me, but I'm saying he is coming. So
to put in my Irish friends' verbiage, they're going to get their arse kicked because they're not getting out there.
Yeah.
You know, Dale, there's a reason they don't want her to win. There's a reason.
Why wouldn't they want her to win?
Because they don't see her at, they think the next candidate, they're going to get the next one. The Clintons, the Obamas will get the person that they want. They didn't have a choice this one. Who are they going to put? They couldn't put somebody over Harris.
Yeah.
It had to be Harris this election.
So they're afraid she's going to win and it'll log things up for 8 years? Is that what you're thinking? And, okay, is this your opinion?
And I've heard other people talk about this on different podcasts. It's not just my opinion, but I agree with that opinion. But you go back to 2016 when Hillary ran, the same thing happened. Bill didn't get out for Hillary. The Obamas didn't work real hard for Hillary, and plus Hillary didn't get up into Wisconsin. She didn't get in the border states up to the last night of 16. Trump was speaking in Michigan at midnight. People may not like him as a person. I'm not in love with him as a person. Politically, he's right wing, and I lean toward the left. I'll be honest with that. But he fights hard for the right. Right now, the DNC and the people that are on the DNC, and you had a great joke before we started the show. What was that joke about the Democrats, Dale?
Well, we didn't tell jokes jokes about Democrats.
Oh, you had a good one, though. You had a
I
good
would never
one.
tell a joke about a Democrat.
All right. But
I have a better one about Republicans.
Oh, okay. Well, what is that one?
Well, that's too long.
Oh, okay. All right. But I am convinced, Dale, that Trump and his followers are outworking her.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know what to say. I have no idea who's outworking who. They all get on the news and show you little snits, bits, I guess you would call it. The shows I watch don't give a very good picture of Trump. I mean, he may be out there, but he's talking gibberish. They had a clip on him where he was talking about, was it Helena? Was that the hurricane? Where he said, Category 5. You know, he had never heard of such a thing. And then they had another clip right after, when he was president, there was another hurricane in Louisiana. He said, level 5 hurricane. I never heard of such a thing. There's all kinds of things like that, and he costs us way too much money. I don't understand why anybody would vote for him. I'm sorry, I don't.
Dale, I'm not saying I'm for him.
I understand that. You're just saying that he's outworking them, and it's hard to keep up when it's just one untruth after another, just boom, 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 and pretty soon you're spending all your time thinking, how can this possibly be? So just because you talk a lot doesn't mean you say anything.
Oh, I understand that.
Yeah, okay.
I understand that.
So I don't care. If, to me, Trump is talking to people that already love him for some reason or another, and he's not talking to anybody that's saying, gee, I wonder which way I should vote. I don't see that at all. Did you see, was that 60 Minutes, this lady in Arizona that's still trying to overthrow the 2020 election out there, and she's just like a mad dog. She's just like, confuse me with facts. I know what I know, and he didn't win. So even though she has absolutely no proof anywhere. So there are those kind of people that are out there. They're just damn crazy as far as I'm concerned.
But you look at Dale, the radio networks, not the networks, but the local radios and radios throughout the country play right-wing radio. They play Sean Hannity and Mark Levine.
That's all there is.
I mean, the Democrats have done a terrible job in response to them.
Yeah. Well, I think, to me, they're irrelevant. After the 2020 election and the lies they put out and the mistruths and were actually proven to be wrong, and Fox ended up paying millions of dollars to somebody because they lied so much. And so to me, I have no interest in what they're saying, and I don't think Democrats or that kind of people really care what they say, because we don't believe it.
Here's the thing, Dale, and I agree with you. Trump will win the dead radio time. Forgive me there.
Yeah.
Trump will win the presidential election. The Democrats will win the House and the Senate, and nothing will change in the government, because
that's what you're predicting.
That's what will happen.
Okay, write that down, Blake. Okay.
You got it. You got it down. Okay. All right.
You can't hear anything.
It is unfortunately but that's the issue.
Yeah.
I heard a podcaster say today, since 2016, Trump hasn't won anything. I mean, the 18 and the 20 elections, the 22.
Yeah.
Now it's the 24. Now this is a challenge. You notice he is not campaigning for any of the senators or the representatives.
Yeah.
It's all about Trump.
Well, he's death to those people. I mean, he's bad news.
Yeah.
I mean, really. So did you hear the latest thing about when COVID tests were hard to get in America? Trump sent a bunch of them to Putin so he could test himself to see if he had COVID or not. Did you read that?
No.
That's the latest thing that's going around. Trump sent some COVID testing materials to Putin when they was very, very hard to get, instead of giving them to some good American. So we'll see how that goes. But.
This is Steve Brown, Art Center Podcast Network. Dale, what do you got there? You got anything unique for us tonight?
For this or 3 years ago, I needed to do some waterproofing inside my basement.
Right.
So I contracted with a well-known Cedar Falls company. They are, been there 50 years and always number one when they rank in the polls. And so they're going to come on Monday. So they come on Monday. Well, there's 4 Mexicans. One of them speaks English just a little bit. And they talk to me a little bit, and then they get right to work. And I'm talking about hauling buckets of cement out of the basement and dumping it, and then hauling fresh cement down and putting it. Did a wonderful job. Took them 4 days and worked really, really hard. And I don't know if they were legal or illegal. I'm assuming they were legal because they're working for this well-known construction company in Cedar Falls. But I think there's so much misinformation and just bad news about the migrants coming in. They're murderers and rapists, and they're all out of prison and this sort of thing. I think everybody knows. I look at those film clips and I see women and children crossing the river. And I remember, well, when the Italians came, we also got the mafia. When the Irish came, there was the Irish mafia, the Ukrainian mafia. There was crime with all those. Even the Jewish people had their own little mob. Mm-hmm. And so there were all bad people with every group that comes in. And so this was an article from Bloomberg News. It was reprinted in the Waterloo Courier on October 8th about immigrants. And I just highlighted some here because as the arguments continue, this is from the Congressional Budget Office, okay? As the arguments continue, it would be good to keep one thing in mind. The vast majority of immigrants, including those arriving under the existing ill-suited arrangements, will prove to be national assets, not liability. On balance, they'll boost the economy and help mend the country's broken public finance. Though policy can and should be improved, the goal shouldn't be throttling the supply of foreign workers. A recent report from the Congressional Budget Office looks at what it calls the recent immigration surge of people entering the U.S. The number of these irregular or other foreign national arrivals, people who enter the U.S. illegally or overstayed their temporary status, parolees awaiting court proceedings, those granted temporary protected status or deferred action, and others, expanded enormously after 2020, from an average of about 200,000 a year to roughly 1.7 million a year. The surge after 2020 is projected to add $1.2 trillion to federal revenues over the next decade, about as much as raising all tax rates on personal income by 1 percentage point. This is mostly because in time, the arrivals work and pay taxes, because a bigger labor force boosts economic growth, adding to others' incomes and taxes. Gross domestic product goes up by $9 trillion, thanks to the bigger population, higher labor force participation among the arrivals, and higher productivity. Federal spending is projected to rise by about $300 billion as the arrivals and their children qualify for benefit. The net effect is to cut 10-year federal borrowing by $900 million. 1.2 trillion minus 300 million, you're still up with a plus of $900 billion. Then it concludes, the failure to control the border and the stress on local communities forced to cope with a disorderly influx of people must be fixed. But the claim that even a mismanaged surge of migrants imposes a net financial burden on the economy and its taxpayers is false. The main lesson is that the gains from a better, smarter, well-managed pro-immigration policy would indeed be huge. And so it always goes back to that thing, look beyond where you are. And with the immigrants coming in, beyond where we are now, but what's going to be there in a decade or so, in 10 years, 20 years. This Congressional Budget Office thinks that it's going to be good for the American finances for us to have this influx of workers into our society. And they're not all angels, but they're not all rapists and murderers either. So anyway, I thought that was an interesting article, especially with my own experience. These four men in my house, and they worked so hard. They really did. And you could not find, I was thinking, okay, who amongst my friends would come and help me haul 5-gallon bucket loads of concrete out of my basement? I couldn't think of one. Right. So anyway, that's the article I looked at.
That's a great article. So next week, we have a story about the president of the Steve Brown Arts Center going to war with the City of Independence.
Ooh.
We have Macy Masteller, our new CAPS ambassador at the Jesup School, will be in, and we will interview Macy. Look forward to that. Don't forget on the 1st, Tim Kimmerer is at the Littleton Chatham Historical Society chili supper. I'm buying Dale and Blake's supper that night. Don't forget that. We are having our 100th show on the 24th of October. The 24th of October. That's coming up.
I thought it was the 30th.
The 30th, forgive me, the 30th.
Yeah.
Yes, it's the 30th. I always mess that date up every week. I mess that up. It's the 30th.
You're very consistent.
Yeah, I am. I'm a little mentally constipated is what I am.
Well, they have a pill for that,
Yeah, I've heard that. If you'd like to donate to the Steve Brown Arts Center or have an idea for an event, go to the Steve Brown Arts Center.org and follow the link. If you have news or would like to sponsor us, email us. It's Jim at SteveBrownArts SBACcenter.org or call 319-290-0241 and leave a message. We are proud to be on the air, and we're headed toward our 100th show. I'm Jim Gillespie with Dale Rueber and producer Blake Tempus. As always, thanks to Kelly C. Haas and Cowork 591 Studios. Thanks to the audience for bringing these stray dogs into your day. Thanks to Ricky Nolan for being on tonight. And remember, each day is about little victories.